Hi Nour, this is Rona Barbour here, and I would like to tell you a wee story. I would like to tell you the story that I heard you tell just a wee while back when the wonderful David Heathfield has got you guys over there in Gaza telling fabulous stories so that we can hear them all the way from Gaza. It's just incredible. And you told one of my favourite stories. You told the Ice Queen. Well, the way you told that story was absolutely wonderful. Your enthusiasm, your energy, your excitement, and your special effects were just off the scale. I loved it. So I'm afraid my version of it is not going to be anything nearly as exciting as yours was, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. Once upon a time, there were a couple of friends, Gerda and Kai. And they were very good friends. They had been friends since their early childhood. And they lived next door to each other. And as a kind of symbol of their friendship, each of them had a garden, a small garden at the bottom of in front of their home, and they grew roses there. And they would tend those roses every morning. And after tending the roses one morning, Gerda said she wanted to go in and hear Grandma tell a story, and Kai was very excited about that. He loved to hear Grandma's stories too. And, skipping over the doorstep, Gerda knew exactly what story she wanted, and she rushed in. Grandma, I would like you to tell us a story, and I would like you to tell the story of the Snow Queen. Well, Kai was not impressed about this at all. Oh no, what have I told you, Gerda? The Ice Queen, she doesn't even exist. Well, at that very moment, the Ice Queen was in her palace. She could hear everything that was going on everywhere. She could see everything. She had a magic mirror, told her everything. Doesn't believe I exist. Doesn't believe in me. That obnoxious boy. I will teach him a lesson he will never forget. I will send my ice arrows to pierce his eyes and his heart, and he will freeze forever. And no sooner were the words out of her mouth than those ice arrows were making their way straight into Gerda's grandmother's home and straight at Kai. They pierced his eyes, they pierced his heart. Of course, they were invisible. So Gerda couldn't see what was happening. She just saw that he was screaming in pain and fell to the floor. And she helped him up, but he pushed her aside very roughly and he ran out the door. And she never saw him again for a few days. And his mother said he wouldn't come out. He was staying in his bedroom. He didn't feel well. And Gerda was very worried about him. Well, a couple of days later, she was even more worried because when she opened the door that morning to go out and tend the garden, she saw this magnificent big carriage outside Kai's house. It was silver and white and absolutely beautiful, pulled by 4 white horses, and sitting up there at the front of that carriage was the Ice Queen. And she was calling on Kai. And he came out and he stumbled out and he stumbled over to the carriage and she just pulled him on and off they went. And Gerda tried to chase them and she almost caught it. And then it suddenly just disappeared. It was gone. She was beside herself. She ran inside and told her grandmother, the Ice Queen has just come and she has taken Kai and I'll never see him again. And what are we going to do? And her grandmother said, don't you worry, my dear. And she took a mirror out of her pocket that Gerda had never seen before. And she said, I too have a magic mirror. I want you to take this. Now, by this time, Gerda was 16 and so was Kai. She said, I want you to go and find him. And this mirror will keep you safe and it will tell you how to find Kai. And on the way you will come across the flower lady. She will help you too. Well, at that, Gerda did the only thing she could think of to do, was she threw some cinks together roughly in a little bag and set off on the journey to go and find Kai. She kissed her grandmother goodbye. They hugged each other and off she went. Well, it didn't take her long to find the flower garden. It was the most magnificent garden you could ever imagine. It had every flower known to man grew in this garden. It went on for miles and miles. But there was something very strange, because there was no perfume. Not one of these magnificent flowers gave off any aroma whatsoever. And Gerda thought this was very strange, so she opened the mirror and she showed her grandma. She said, "Grandma, I'm here, I'm at the flower garden, but it's very strange because none of the flowers give off any perfume." And her mother says, "They will now. Just touch one with your finger." And Gerda did. She put her finger on top of one of the little flowers, and all of a sudden, the air was filled with this magnificent perfume from all of the flowers. "How did you do that, Grandma?" She said, "I didn't do it, my dear. You did." And just at that, the flower lady came rushing over, and she said to Gerda, "Oh my, how did you do that? The perfumes are back. Thank you so, so much. Is there anything I can do for you?" And Gerda said, "Well, yes, actually, my grandma thought you could help me, and I have to find the Snow Queen to bring back my friend Kai. She took him away." And the flower lady said, "Oh, my dear, I don't think that's a very good idea. She's a very dangerous person, the Snow Queen. You can't go to the Snow Queen's castle on your own." "I must," said Gerda, "and my grandma told me that Miss Mirror will protect me." And she wouldn't hear of it. She had to go. So the flower lady gave her an instruction, and off she went. She said to her, "When you come to the end," she told her which roads to take, "and when you come to the end of that particular road, you'll see the river, and on the other side of the river, you will see the Queen's castle. It's there, and it's very big. You can't miss it." So she was getting quite excited now, Gerda was, because now it looked like she was getting quite close to finding him. When she got to the river, she was very surprised to see a huge boat there, because it was only a small river. And standing in front of the boat was the pirate captain. It was a pirate ship. It's quite obvious because the Jolly Roger was flying in that boat. And Gerda sort of thought, I don't know about this. But the captain called on her. "Young girl, where are you going? Who are you? And what are you doing?" All at once. And Gerda said, "I'm looking for my friend. I've got to find my friend, Kai. He was taken by the Snow Queen. Can you tell me? Can you help me? How do I get to the Snow Queen?" And he pointed, and sure enough, before she'd even had a chance to look, there it was, the castle. He said, "But I wouldn't go there if I was you. It's very dangerous." "I know, I've been told," said Gerda, "but my mirror will protect me. My grandma told me." "Your grandma? Was she the person who gave you that mirror?" And she said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I would like to help you, but I'm not going to, because I want to keep you here. This friendship you talk of, where you have to go and rescue your friend, I've never had a friend in my whole life. I want you to be my friend." "Oh, no, I can't," said Gerda. "I must go and get my friend Kai. But if you let me go, if you help me, I promise you that when Kai and I return, we will both be your friends." Oh, well, the pirate captain liked the idea of that, 2 friends. So he decided he would help her. And in fact, he gave her one of the rowing boats, one of the safety boats of his ship. And she rowed over to the castle. And when she got there, I mean, the sight of it was quite magnificent. It was huge, but there was no sight of anybody. There was no sound. And when she crept up to the front of the castle, the door was huge. So she was really surprised when she just touched it and it swung open. And she was in this huge hallway, but it was freezing cold. It was so, so icy cold. Nothing, nobody. So she started to call, Kai, Kai. And then she realised that was too quiet, but she wasn't quite sure if there was anybody else that would come when she called. But she tried a little bit louder, Kai, Kai. Nothing. But when she got to the end and turned the corner that took her into another big room that was empty as well, she saw him huddled there in the corner, and he was frozen, almost solid. And she ran over to him, and his eyes were closed, and his eyelashes were all iced up, his eyebrows, everything. He was white with ice. Oh, she clung on to him and she said, Oh, Kai, please, please stand up. We need to leave. I want to take you home. And he couldn't move. And the next minute, the Snow Queen appeared behind her. Who are you, girl, and what do you want? And as Gerda turned, the Ice Queen said, Oh, I know you. You're the girl who's in the house where Kai was. Yes, she said, and I've come to take him back. You can't keep him. Oh, yes, I can, she said. Just look at him. He's almost solid now. Only his heart to freeze, and when that's frozen, he will be mine forever. No, no, said Gerda, and all this time she's been holding Kai's hands, and the ice has been melting, and he's starting to melt all over. And the Ice Queen is furious. She can see the magic of this. This is her love that's melting this ice, and she's absolutely fuming. But Gerda turns to her and says, You can't stop me, and you can't stop Kai. He wants to come with me, don't you, Kai? And when Kai opened his eyes and looked and saw the love in her eyes, that was all it took. That love was exactly what the Ice Queen could not stand. And she started to melt right there in front of them. And the next thing, she was just a pool of water on the floor. And Gerda helped Kai to his feet, and they embraced, and then they ran off together. And within minutes, they were back in that little rowing boat, rowing all the way back to where the pirate was. And they promised to come and visit him again, thanked him for the use of his boat. Then she made her way through the flower garden, and Kai was getting better all the time as they went on. The colour started to come back to his cheeks. And when they got back to Grandma's house, she was delighted to see them back, safe and well. And when Gerda told her grandma what had happened to the Ice Queen, Gerda said, That's it, she's gone forever. And she was very surprised when her grandma said, I don't think so. I think she'll come back one day. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed that, Nour, and I hope to see you again one day soon. Take care.